Okay, I wanted to play it a little longer, but there's so much going on. Ah! Hello, 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 and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mananda Reaper, and we deconstruct music videos on this channel. Normally, I take a look at metal videos because I really love metal music, and also I'm a filmmaker, which is why I love to kind of deconstruct these videos, and I love taking a look at these videos, and I admire the filmmakers so much because the budgets are usually quite small. They have all sorts of restrictions. Normally, they don't have a whole lot of time to shoot them. So the level of creativity that they're able to achieve within, these limitations to me is always really inspiring. And so I love taking a look at those and see how it interacts with the music as well. So today I'm going to be taking a look at a video by IC3PEAK. It's called Kiss of Death. And this was suggested by one of my viewers. So thank you so much. I'm really interested. This is not a metal video like I normally do, but maybe that's something that I should be doing more of. I don't know. So I Speak is a Russian act, and they're very much anti-war, like anti the Ukraine war. So all of their videos have been blocked by the Russian government, and so they kind of depend on, the non-Russian audience to connect with their content. And so I'm really curious to see what this is, and it's a little bit different from our standard, Western European American kind of um, eye on filmmaking. And so I'm always really interested to see what these other countries that also historically have a very, like, have a thriving or have or had a thriving film industry of their own. eh, They tend to do things a little bit differently than we're used to. So I'm just very curious to see what we're gonna get with I Speak. Let's go.
You don't want me happy. You want me when I'm sad. You don't want me healthy. You want me when I'm bad. What's that meaning?
Okay, I remember now why this viewer suggested this video is because on that video I said that I love horror. And if I don't remember, if I remember correctly, this video is rather kind of creepy, so beware. Uh, like my first um, observations here are she looks like a little fairy or something, like with the beautiful flowers in her hair, like the long braids and the white dress. And also, if you're not familiar with the woman in white trope, like, I mean, again, like this is a, I, I wanted to say it's more of a Western trope, but I'm thinking it's more of a religious trope. And considering that Russia is also historically Christian, the white dress, it symbolizes virginity and like purity and that kind of thing. So it's something that you see a lot in horror films as well. It's like when, especially when the final woman or the final girl is like going to take revenge or something. Like for some reason, there's always a white dress around, and she is suddenly wearing white, and she takes revenge, or like the story turns and either way, there if you're interested, look it up. The Woman in White. It's a very common trope that you see um, in a lot of film. And another thing that I noticed, the little pigs here, they're eating the the costumes of the soldiers, which is very grim because also in a lot of stories they sometimes dispose bodies by feeding them to the pigs. Or that could be one interpretation, or it could be that, you know, often you'll hear, especially in English. So I don't know if this is something that they do in Russia as well, but police officers or any like government official, they're called pigs. So maybe they turned into pigs. Like that's they're now pigs. And considering that I Speak is very anti-war, that could be another interpretation. Um, but we're only 23 seconds in and I'm already rambling. So there's a lot here. There's a lot going on. Really fun so far. Let's go. Okay, so it's not metal, but it's kind of electronica, but sort of adjacent to metal. I don't know. It seems it feels in like it's in the same realm. But oh my goodness, there's so much happening here. So I think maybe they're vampires or some sort of creepy forest creatures, witches maybe. But the moment I hit play, like we had these beautiful mushrooms growing out of the shoes. And that looked really cool. What a cool effect, especially because the red really popped, and we haven't really seen many reds yet. And then they walk into this glade, and there's all of these mushrooms around, and then all of a sudden they start dancing and there's flashing lights and she turns into this demon creature and into an old lady, which is a little bit of like the Snow White kind of witch vibe, right? So I don't know what the relationship here is between her turning in the old lady and the girl with the teeth. Um, Very cool makeup though. Like also if you see this guy here, obviously they painted them in really white paint with very dark lips and like the eyeliner, and it's really quite stark. They look like ghosts, and I love how also they fit in really well with the birch trees. Had to quickly confirm, but yes, they're birches with the really white bark. It fits well, and it's a nice kind of texture to everything here. So wow, that's a lot to take in.
Do you wanna kiss me last time? Thinking about too long, but I saw you don't want me happy. You want me when I'm sad. You don't want me happy. You want me when I'm bad. So do you want a kiss?
Okay, I wanted to play it a little longer, but there's so much going on. Uh, so we have this, goodness me. Okay, so we go from the forest scene. Also, I wanted to say it's really cool that he's playing these drums that are basically on these uh, branches or sticks. Very cool looking. And then we have this little picnic in the the glade. So we have this here. And look at the contrast between them and the food. And basically, this guy on the right, especially, like he's almost completely desaturated, and she almost is like, and then the hair is this peachy orange that's sort of almost the same color as the foods. Like the foods are all very orangey. Obviously, this has been done in post with the color grading, which looks very cool. And just really weird and kind of uncanny. And I love also like they have a lot of blush on his face as well to kind of make him seem a little bit more alive, I guess. But again, with the color grading, it's amped up even more. And the guitar really stands out as well as the greens in the back. And then she still has the flowers on her head, which are still colored. But then everything below the neck kind of is completely desaturated, it looks like. And the white is so white that it really pops. um, wow. And then they start eating, and this guy's hands transform. It's like, what's happening? I'm also getting a very strong Snow White vibe. I don't know if that's like a thing, or Hansel and Gretel actually. Maybe that even more so. You know how the witch lures them in with some candy or food. Uh, that's a German uh fairy tale originally, though. But then again, it's all sort of European. So I love this, and it's very creepy. Very, very, very creepy. Okay.
Thinking about too long, but I saw you don't want me happy. You want me when I'm sad. You don't want me happy. You want me when I'm bad. So do you want a kiss? Thinking about too long. So do
What an incredible video. Wow. So, oops. He's actually hanging here. So they must have rigged him and had him play these sort of tree drums. That's amazing. That is so cool. And then with the sort of red wine, which I don't know if it's supposed to be either wine or blood, but it doesn't look really convincing as fake blood. So maybe it's supposed to be wine. Um, and it's spattering everywhere. It looks very effective. And then the flashing, oh, so creepy in these woods. Like that's so cool. And also this transition to them being back with the teeth and coming up and like coming for us and gross, those hands. Yeah, this seems very critical of government, that's for sure. So I want to quickly go back and so the lighting here, I mean, they shot this at night, but the lighting is so nice and pale. It almost looks like it was shot during like a very full moon. There's no warmth in the light whatsoever, and that is very effective. And again, it also is such a great contrast with their painted skin. And obviously, here this guy has now got these weird hands, so that's also painted up to like his elbows. It's black, so you can barely even see his arms at this point. And her hair is grown, very creepy. And then I wanted to quickly go to this shot here, which is so cool because they splatter this stuff all over their face, but it's such a nice um the line of the coverage basically it's so straight. That must have been a coincidence, but it's extremely effective, and that's a very creepy shot. Like it's very creepy. And then here, this is so cool. So basically, they she has this knife here, which um they edited the reflection of the knife because actually we would be seeing the camera, right? But they turned it almost into like a screen where she's holding up this butcher's knife as a reflection to show this goat in um, either police or military outfit. But that's really, really, really cool. And I love how the flowers are wilting here, by the way. Like they were sort of doing all right at the start of the video, and now they're just completely wilted, which makes sense because she's turned into this awful kind of character. So this was an incredible video. This was so neat. And something else, like I'm excited to explore this kind of music and music from different countries. I also really love hearing, different influences, like cultural influences in music, as well as, seeing it in the actual video. And so if any of you know, like what kind of, maybe I'm wrong and it's not inspired by Snow White or, Hansel and Gretel, which is obviously my more Western European kind of look on these types of story. Like, I'm so curious to hear if anyone knows what fairy tale this was inspired by, and if anyone knows more about this group, I would love to hear more. And I'm gonna watch a couple more of these videos because I speak. Yeah, they look very interesting. I'm quite intrigued. So thanks so much for the recommendation. That was very cool. And yeah, so let me know if there's anything I missed in the video or if there's anything that I pointed out that you hadn't really noticed before. And if there's any other videos that I should be checking out, like I love anything horror. It doesn't have to be specifically metal videos, but I do love music, all kinds of music, really. Anyway, I hope you'll join me in the comments. Let's have a conversation, and I hope you'll join me for the next one. Peace.